Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're digging into a role that's really changing how businesses work and scale up. That's the revenue operations leader or RevOps leader.
Yeah, RevOps. And we've got this really interesting article that talks about them not just as ops managers, but as like crucial translators of strategy.
Translators, right. I like that framing. So that's our mission today, isn't it? To kind of unpack what that actually means in practice.
Exactly. It's about seeing how RevOps, it isn't just back office support. It's really this essential link. It connects the big picture strategy, like we want X% growth or better retention, to the actual, the nuts and bolts of making it happen day to day.
Okay, so let's dive into that. The article uses this phrase, strategic connective tissue. What are they getting at there?
Well, it means RevOps leaders look at those high-level goals, the big ambitions, and they figure out, okay, what specific system changes do we need across marketing, sales, customer service, the whole revenue engine. They translate the strategy's what and why into the practical how for the operational systems. How does the data need to flow? What processes need to change?
And it sounds like they're solving a really common headache, this strategy gap, where companies have the ideas, but they just fizzle out before becoming reality.
Totally. And the symptoms are probably familiar to a lot of people listening. You see teams interpreting the same goal in completely different ways. Or tech tools get bought and rolled out, but they're not really aligned with what the business is trying to achieve.
Yeah, or you're tracking metrics that just show people are busy, not that they're actually moving the needle on outcomes.
Right. And feedback loops get messy or they're just broken. So the people doing the work aren't getting clear signals if they're on the right track.
So the idea is that RevOps leaders, because they think in terms of systems, they see how all these pieces are supposed to fit together.
Exactly. They grasp the whole machine, how different functions interact, how information should move, how processes need to evolve. They take that strategy and translate it into the operational reality, how information travels, where effort gets focused, how you actually measure if you're winning.
Okay. And the source breaks down this translation work. It talks about three key layers. First up is strategic alignment.
Right. So this is about taking that big business goal and making it concrete, turning it into things like OKR's objectives and key results, things you can actually track. It's also about aligning the key processes and even making sure incentives for the teams actually push people towards that strategic outcome. Defining what success looks like in measurable terms.
Got it. Defining the target. Okay, then the second layer, technical enablement.
Yeah, this is the how in terms of systems. What tech do we need? How should data flow between systems? What changes are needed? It's about setting up the tools correctly. Designing those handoffs, like, when a lead goes from marketing to sales and building dashboards that actually track those OKRs we just defined.
Okay, define the goal, built the tech infrastructure. Then the final layer, behavioral reinforcement.
And this is super important because, systems don't run themselves, right? It's about the people using them. RevOps helps make sure teams actually align their daily work with the strategy through training, through feedback loops, and fostering that shared accountability for hitting the strategic goals.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The article makes a strong point that RevOps needs a seat at the table early on, when the strategy is still being formed.
Yeah, and that's a big shift, isn't it? Because if they're involved that early, they're not just executing strategy, they're actually helping shape it. They can say, hold on, is that big idea even feasible with our current systems or team capacity?
So they can pressure test it.
Exactly. Pressure test it. Model the potential outcomes, figure out capacity needs, design systems to be more agile from the start, and maybe even spot unintended consequences across different departments before the company goes all in on a plan.
So they're not just implementing the plan, they're kind of co-designing it based on operational reality. The source calls these folks strategic operators.
That's the term, yeah. They sit at these critical intersections, bridging data and the story the business tells, linking process design to actual performance, connecting execution with like a culture of experimentation. They're the ones who can really turn that high-level vision into systems that work and deliver results consistently.
So wrapping this up, the key takeaway seems pretty clear. These RevOps leaders are really vital strategic translators. They build and tune the engine that lets strategy actually, happen.
Absolutely. And it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Right.
How does this role challenge our old ideas about strategy being separate from execution?
Yeah. And what does it mean for how different teams need to work together, especially if one function is explicitly designed to be that connective tissue?
Right. And the source even hints at the future,
Mm.
thinking about AI and automation. It suggests this translation role for RevOps, guiding how new tech serves the strategy, is only going to become more critical, something to keep an eye on.